My name is Bruce, and today I'm blessed to be with my friend Janet from another planet.
Hello,
As
everyone.
we
Mhm.
delve into the movie The Hidden on another episode of A Girl, a Guy, and a Movie. And for those of you that are wondering, yep, Rumble's working. For those
Mhm.
of you that want to be here for the full show, we're going to echo one of our peers, and we're going to do 20 minutes or so on YouTube. And then if you want to continue to follow this on my channel, here's the link right here. And I'll post that over to Janet so she could post that to her friends as well. We're not going to be doing much with YouTube in the future, just for the fact they're becoming more and more pro big business, uh, pro everything that I'm not. Like they want to sell to CNN and Fox and big media channels, and they want you to as well. They want you to get involved with things that are just really not in your best interests. And I'm not into that. I want mom and pop businesses to be the way of the world. And if that sounds a bit divisive, well, whatever. I'm pretty okay with that. I like small businesses, and Rumble still seems like it's a small business. They're running it like a small business,
Mhm.
even though they're multimedia, multinational. I want to give them the scratch behind the ears. They're doing us good. If YouTube would get back to what it was 2009 when it was Wild West, like it should be, you can deal. But if they're going to be pro Green Day and pro garbage, we're not into that. Cotton tells Janet off topic. I
Hello.
you the best thing ever. If you want to share that, Janet, we can. If you want to wait till we cut YouTube off and we go to
Well, I just want everybody to know that I need a thousand hours still on my channel on YouTube to ever be able to even have a chance to be monetized. So, I need as much views as I can get. But I wanted to say hi to Papa Cotton, and I'm going to try to keep up on. I'm going to get on. I got to get on my YouTube on my phone so that I can talk to everybody because I can't talk on here. There's no way for me to speak on this app, so I just
yeah, I
want
find
everybody
it
to know.
really weird that they don't do that with this. You have to open up another window or get another device for
Mhm.
analysts to interact with the chat. If Restream is listening, please do that because that would be wonderful.
There's not a thing after you're finished on Restream to, tell them, hey, can you fix it so I could
This
chat with
this has
people
been.
from different countries?
I'm not the only one that's done this. I'm
Yeah,
not the only one that's said certain hey requests. Restream, please do this. We
yeah.
can't be the only ones that are out here requesting this.
Well,
I
see, another thing is, I have a warning against my channel since January of last year,
no, I've
2024.
got a strike as well.
Okay. And so if I get another warning, then I'll have a strike. So the fact that they won't take it down, even though I did everything they asked, it just tells me they don't want me to be, ever amount to anything. So I'm going to start pushing, as much as I can, as on my other channels because YouTube definitely doesn't like me. So if they won't even listen to me or, answer any of my emails, then there's not much else I can do about it. I just want everybody to know that.
Just to kick things off, if you've not seen the movie The Hidden, I'm going to play a trailer and we're going to share this so you guys can understand exactly what movie I'm talking about.
Well, don't put the sound on it,
We'll talk over the sound. I'll drop the sound a little bit.
okay? Because I don't, because
I
I'm
want
on
this
YouTube.
car. Jonathan
I,
Miller
I
would
think
never
this is
do
great in the
anything to break the
trailer. They
law.
show
I
you
need the
this
key.
this older guy.
Thank you.
When he starts
Fine.
running in the film and he starts having real
Very
issues,
fine,
Yeah.
I did not take that as a personal attack, although probably others would think
Well, you
I
got to
did.
remember he was in the hospital at the beginning
Oh yeah.
for a heart attack. So the
Mhm.
fact that he was able to even run that far proved to you that the alien that was inside of him
Nick
was
Bolton is
keeping him going.
Constantine.
You know what I mean? It's
I
just that
like
his
one of those
body couldn't
aliens.
keep up.
I want one of those aliens in me. That way I can have a bolstered constitution. I can.
I don't think so. It's pretty gross.
I know the tentacle alien sucks, but the little white, little yellow energy alien would be
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, this is literally one of those films that started I don't remember many films before 80, 85 that had a lot of strip joints. This is one of the first that I remember. The strip joint was a key event location in the film.
Yeah.
And I don't remember a time before that. Like Lethal Weapon 2 had if I remember right, they had a strip joint in it.
Yeah, well, one thing I wanted to say, the scene where she leaps off the building,
Yeah.
goes to that sign,
Yes.
that big sign up there, and then lands on the ground. You know what it reminded me of?
What's
The
that?
movie with the Blade Runner.
Oh yeah.
A scene where she's shot and she falls through the plate glass window because she's barely wearing any
Oh,
clothes.
Atlanta Cassidy.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of a couple of different movies, like the some of the parts,
Yes.
with the
Right
from
there.
The Thing. Yeah, when she fell through it, when you watch the way she launches herself through that's what it reminded me of. And the flamethrower part reminded me a little of The Thing. But you know what? Watching him in that suit and tie, I didn't even think of him as in Dune.
No.
You know what I mean?
All I could think when I watched this movie is Twin Peaks a sequel
Yeah.
to The Hidden, because he plays a character in The Hidden that is a lot like Agent Cooper. Is it? I think it's Agent Cooper. So I watched this film and I went back to like my 20s when I watched this film like one weekend on the USS Defender. We got a copy of it and we had a public VCR, so we were able to play our own VCRs and our own tapes. And I sat in the galley and kind of helped them clean up a little bit here and there. But for the most part,
Yeah.
I played this movie 6 separate times just watching it because I hadn't seen it in like 5 or 6 years, and it made me very happy. And finally, my first lieutenant came down. He's like, "Hey, they're kind of worried about you. Like, it's a really beautiful day out. Why don't you go out and get some exercise? Because we know you're on a lot of pills from GNC, but all you've done is sit in here and watch this movie over and over and over like a little kid." I'm like, I'm 19. We're still
Yeah.
in Texas. I can't go out and drink. And I already did my run this morning when it was only 80 degrees. I'm going to sit in here and have a couple more cups of lemonade and watch the final 30 minutes of this. Then I'll go outside and do something right after sunset, because that'll be at like 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I'll still be able to enjoy the fresh air. And they're like, "Okay, well, you're kind of worried about you." I said, "Thank you." And then they're like, "Are you depressed?" I'm like, not at all. I love this movie." "Oh yeah, we kind of figured that out. You watched it 6 fucking times in the galley." I'm like, well, I mean, football season has got nothing on right now. I mean, you don't have a good baseball game going on unless you watch the Cubs. It was back in '94 when watching the Cubs meant you were a heroin user. Like, I need someone to fall asleep to while I pop heroin. It's literally the worst time of year. And I found this movie at a pawn shop in Aransas Pass, and I'm like, I gotta get it. So yeah, this movie has been in my frequent watch list, and then I hadn't seen it for like the last 10 years, and then today I see it and I'm like, yeah, I love this movie. This is a great film.
Was this a book or something before?
No.
Okay, because
Whole new
I
script.
had never heard of it until you said that you wanted to us to watch it. So the only thing I did was look for a picture of some woman that was in it so that I could try to find a costume to wear in theme of it. But I was surprised by the movie simply because I was expecting it to be something that wasn't. You know what I mean? It was so different and unique, and I wasn't expecting to have um, human qualities for the aliens. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And Kyle did a really, really good job at acting like. At first, I thought he really was an FBI agent, but little things that he did, like with the whole Alka-Seltzer thing,
Yes.
that was a really good touch to show me, to make me go, is he an alien too? You know, it threw me off a little bit, but I really liked the actor that played the his partner, basically the head
Michael Nouri.
lead detective. Yeah, I really liked him. He was very believable as a husband and a dad, and basically a boss. The way that he was able to talk to the other employees, and I liked the banter between the other police officers, detectives in the actual, police department when they're at their desks. Like saying, "Hey, man, I haven't seen my wife in 30 days," and the other guy goes, "I just saw her last night. Everything's fine." Whatever. Little
Yeah.
picture like that made it more believable that they all work together. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
little things like that made it very personal, and I enjoyed that part of it because it pulled me into the characters, and you wanted to know more about them as detectives and how they. So I thought that was really good for bringing you in to because you got to care about the characters, or you don't have any interest to watch their arc throughout the movie to see whether or not they're successful, or if you even give a crap. You know what I mean? So I was impressed, and I
I
was shocked at the direction it ended up going because I wasn't expecting that.
yeah, I was rather impressed with this movie's direction. Looking at it as a professional reviewer today,
Hmm.
but I've got to say that the editing in this movie is actually so tight that I really love how they did the physical cuts, and they also did the audio cuts as well. Because in scenes where you're in the Ferraris with the bad alien zooming through the streets of LA, they've got the heavy metal jammed up all the way, and then it'll cut outside and it gives you just a clear audio break, a dynamic change to where you have one guy, quote unquote, living his best life, listening to Rat or Iron Man or whatever it may be, and he's
Yeah.
having a ball. And then you got like 17 cops that are like thinking this is my last 30 seconds of being alive as they hold like a Remington or Mossberg shotty
Hmm.
to their shoulders, and they're getting ready to just pepper this Italian sports car to pieces. And it gives you just a very clear line in the sand of kind of where everybody's at, because it spends so much time to get to know the officers. It doesn't really do a lot of quick cuts. It does linger a lot on all the faces.
Hmm.
So you do feel the ratcheting anxiety. And I love how this movie just doesn't really seem to let up, even into the third act when a lot of people would normally like want to check out. It seems like it just continues to get further and further. And when Michael Nouri's character, when he gets sold on the fact that he's fighting an alien from space,
Yeah.
it just seems like the amount of anticipation just kind of doubles. And I was not expecting this. Really was pretty happy.
I wish they'd that's one thing I wish they'd done, is give him a little more time to sit and explain to him about what happened, and why he took that guy's body, basically. Because if he supposedly died in a fire, how come he's not burnt? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
There's a few more things in there that left me you know without an answer. Uh, and I wouldn't even have noticed that if I wasn't watching it to talk about it. If I was just watching it as a movie, I probably wouldn't even have noticed a lot of the little things that I was able to find. But they're little things, and they're not really editing. They're like story, like through the script. It didn't. They didn't give you access to that, in the actual story. So the editing I thought was really good. Like you said, it was very smooth, and I didn't see any glitches where there was a gap, somewhere, like they dropped a piece on the floor and they couldn't put it back in or whatever, that type of thing. So that was really, really well done. And the woman they chose to be his wife, she was cast as a good person to play that part. I thought she did a really good job. She was very loving, and the way she looked at him and stuff, she had that look like she really admired him and was proud to be married to him.
Yes.
And all that was very believable for me, because I've seen so many that just seem like, well, what the hell, that woman acts like she has no feelings at all. But this one, it was really good. It made me want to root for them as a couple, and that's why towards the end, when I found out he wasn't going to make it, when I saw that he was shot, he got shot and he's landing and he's gasping for air, I got a little bit of emotional, because I thought, oh no, he's going to die, so I cared about him by then. So that's what's important about building up the character enough to where you actually gave a crap about what happens to him. Now, through the whole thing, I wish that the Kyle's character, what was the name of him as a
Lloyd Gallagher.
Yeah, Lloyd's character that Kyle was playing, he seemed awkward all the way through the whole movie. So
yeah, he never gets his footing as a human.
Yeah, he just seems like, even though he's supposedly been living as a human for quite a while, he still had a quirky outsider feeling. Now, at the very beginning, I didn't notice it. Now he's seen, like, remember I said, what was it? The other guy that was married, and we watched that movie, the outer space movie that we watched a couple weeks ago.
Dark Angel,
Ben.
I Come in Peace.
But Ben's character, remember I said he was very like a stuffed shirt, and he was prim and proper. He had to follow the rules, all that. Yeah. So when you first see him in this one, that's what I felt about him. I felt like he was very organized, and on point about being an FBI agent. So in a way that worked really well, about when he first met him. But then when it came to the car part, that's when I started going, what's going on with him? You know what I mean? When he said, no, he didn't pay for it. So I was wondering what that meant. So then I started trying to pay a little more attention to that. And I was like, I thought it was trying to throw me off and make me think that he was an alien because the other guy, loved Ferraris and wanted to steal it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I didn't know for sure what was going on there, but it was still very entertaining to me. And man, there was a lot of bullet holes in everybody. They had a lot of squibs used in this movie. I wanted to ask, how old was the director? Do you know?
This came out in 1987.
Yeah.
So Jack Sholder, hold on. Jack Sholder was born in 1945. He was 42 when this movie was made.
Really? Because I was expecting him to be at least maybe 36, because the choice in the music and the choice from the vehicles, little things like that. And just like you said, the stripper, having a stripper be a main character almost for, almost half the movie. To me, that it just seemed like the story. Now, maybe it's the writer. It could have been the writer that was younger. It just seemed like the story was for a younger audience to appeal to them.
He did a movie back in 1982 called Alone in the Dark.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an interesting film about a bunch of weirdos that break out of a mental asylum during a power blackout.
Yeah.
And they go to the new doctor's house they believe killed their previous doctor. And it's an interesting film because it's got Jack Palance and Martin Landau and Donald Pleasance in it, along with Dwight Schultz and a bunch of other nice people. Erlen Van Lint, who played in The Running Man as Dynamo. But Alone in the Dark is a 1982 movie that nobody ever really watches, nobody ever talks about. We'll have to do that. It's a very good movie. It's one of the first films that Jack Sholder directed.
Yeah.
And he's got, if you're looking on my screen here, he did the Garden Party. Was a, I never have heard of that, but he did this movie here, Freddy's Revenge. And I remember this movie very well. There's a lot of good parts to it. It's not a great movie by any means. It's my probably the least favorite of the first five Freddy films, because after that I just don't like those Freddy films. The first
Hmm.
five are watchable, but the second one is kind of a low point. But there's a lot of really cool stuff he does with it, and
And
that's
that's
one
the
thing.
same director or
Same
the writer?
director. Same director. The director of this movie uh, is the same director as what's in The Hidden. After he did Freddy's Revenge, he went to work on The Hidden. And then he
Okay.
did director for Renegades, By Dawn's Early Light, did some Tales from the Crypt, Gabriel's Fire, did this really bad movie called Natural Selection. They say it's a 5.2. I think it's a 3. I'm sorry. And then he did the TV movie Generation X, Mortal Kombat Conquest, which was a small TV series, and he did an episode of that. It wasn't horrible.
Hmm.
He did the Wishmaster Part 2, Evil Never Dies, which that's probably a low point in his career. And
Yeah, I never saw the Wishmaster.
I don't think he was involved with that one.
Hmm.
I think he was just kind of like credited for director, but he let his AD take over because it doesn't feel like his work. It really doesn't. But he did the TV series for Tremors, did an episode of that.
Did
And
you ever watch the series for it?
I've seen a few pieces here and there on YouTube. That's about
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Back when
I
YouTube,
never
you
watched
used
it.
to be able to find like somebody upload like a whole movie or a whole TV episode.
Yeah,
Back in the good days, slamming on YouTube, got to give you more kidney punches, you communist fuck.
yeah.
Um, I just, really enjoyed the old days when I need to find this movie. Well, it's on the internet. Okay, let me go find it. Sure enough, on aggression or a Albanian server, you can find the English version of this show you want to watch, and it was just like that. That's how it was. But um,
Well, I looked up. I was looking up a little, trying to find some little tidbits of information.
lady,
Uh, after we, hi, Lady, it's nice to see you. To kind of give me an idea, a little bit more about the behind what went on, how they chose this movie, things like that. I
mhm,
didn't really have a lot of time because we had just finished watching it, but I said that director Jack Sholder was drawn to the film because of the script.
yep,
Writer Jim is Kuoff or
yes,
Koff had originally expressed interest in directing, but when the studios refused, uh, he lost interest in the script. They lost interest in it. It says Shoulder, who saw the potential in to turn it into more than just an action film, did a rewrite to heighten the themes to what it means to be a human, which I thought was
really reflects
subtle.
well.
It wasn't really as obvious to me. It was more trying to teach you what it was like to be one of those aliens. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Trying to understand what it was that they were, well, between the two aliens, what was going on between the two of them, trying to figure that out. At least that's what it was to me. And he said that he wanted to, and he rewrote it and stuff like that to change it a little bit. It says casting for the film was difficult. They used auditions and could not cast Agent Gallagher until several days before shooting began. It said later that the director said that Kyle, the guy that was in Dune, said was an inspired choice. Through Shoulders crashed with Nouri. I guess that was the other actor, right?
Hmm. Yeah,
It said then,
they got along well with each other, but
mm,
they just the director and Michael Nouri didn't really get along that well. But he agreed, I'll do this movie if Kyle's my opposite.
yeah, that's what he said. He said that they agreed that if the other two, those two, got to work together, that they would do the movie. So that's good, and I thought they worked really well together So, but one thing I thought was funny, one piece of trivia I found, it says that Claudia Christian, okay, the girl that played Brenda the stripper, the one I'm supposed to be kind of dressed up like, it
Mhm.
says she likes to tell two stories about her experience in this film. First is the design of her wardrobe. They said the producers found her breasts visually inadequate. So I just thought this was hilarious. And so they designed her costumes to emphasize her buttocks. And that's what I
Yeah.
said. When she took her skirt off and then she had that dollar bills in there, that was a great idea. Oh my God. I thought that was awesome. I wish I'd thought of it when I was younger. But and then I thought it was great for a great costume. I mean, heck, you just get, tons of money. You know what I think, if you were gonna, do cosplay or whatever, dressed like that. But the thong back that was all rhinestones. Oh, she had a nice derriere for sure. Beautiful. I thought
I
she
mean,
was
that's one of the main
built
reasons
very
why I
well.
watched Babylon 5 for the first 4 seasons.
Yeah,
And, not
that's
that,
why I kept saying, "Who is she? Why does she look so familiar?" But damn, seeing her almost completely naked, and when she was wearing that little t-shirt croppy top thing
Mhm.
with the little G-string with the money bills, I thought she looked really good. It did to me. It made her assets look really good. Her upper body.
I've never complained about her front or her back, but I've watched her quite a bit over the years. She's in
Mhm.
another sci-fi gem called Arena, and that's on schedule for next April 1st because we did the Bunny movie this April 1st, and we'll do Arena next year because
Well,
I think
I was going to say the second thing that she was talking about, she said, is that she injured her eye. She had an eye injury. It said the material exploding from a prop gun scratched her cornea.
yeah.
And because of this, however, she had to fire a prop gun on Babylon 5. Okay. She
Mhm.
would instinctively turn her face away when pulling the trigger, even though this was unnecessary because the Babylon 5 prop guns did not really fire, as all visual effects were to be added in later. But she still would do that. She would kind of, flinch
Yep.
every time, and I can believe that because after shooting my gun, like I said in the coop, I now when I go to pull the trigger, I flinch thinking that my ear is going to explode, even if I have earplugs in. So I can understand that. But I just thought those two things were pretty interesting, especially the one about the people casting her as a part for a stripper, but telling her, well, we wish you had bigger boobs. Basically, is what they were. Because I heard them many times. I'd be there where they were, interviewing actresses for parts or whatever, and they'd say,
Step out of the car
you know,
slowly.
"You're doing the
Keep your
movie,
hands where I can see them.
get a boob job." But they'd always say no.
Uh, this
No, they say
movie,
don't.
but this movie just hits on so many notes for me,
Yeah,
and like I'm sure if a cop pulled a stripper over and this happened, like you
I
shit,
love
what the fuck?
I love that was great. But the one scene that I did like, which kind of reminded me of the movie that I wanted you to put on the list. I'm trying to remember what her name is, but it's the one where the guy is like he dies, okay,
Mhm.
and he's a womanizing pig, and then God says, okay. Or the devil, I don't remember which one it was, and they said we're going to let you come back and get another chance to get someone that actually loves you, to prove that you're worthy to go to heaven, basically. And they bring him back as a woman. And I think it's Ellen Barkin or something that plays, and I can't remember the name. I'll have to look
We've
it up.
talked about this movie before.
Yeah, and I wanna. It's one of the movies that I want to review because I really think it's very well done, and the views that you get of what it's like to be a woman when you're a man, but not in a way because of all the stupid shit they've been doing, out there pretending to be a man or pretending to be a woman, like when I dressed up for Lady Ballers. So but they did a really good job at showing you how he's realizing how awful it was, some of the ways that men treated women. Because now that he was a woman, he got to see what it was like and how horrible he was and how bad he treated women. So I liked it. It was like him learning, to be better, be a better person. instead of using them as just pillows. You know what I mean? Whatever type thing. But I liked it, and I liked that part when she's sitting in the car and she starts caressing herself because she's realizing, hey, this is the first time I've ever gotten to be in a woman's body. And remember when he was that one guy before he stole the car, he was looking through trying to find a woman, basically, like he was wanting to go have sex with women or something.
Yeah.
Because he was a womanizing pig, that the creature, because no matter what body he took over, he wanted to do that. So he was like, he wanted to kill and he wanted to steal. He was just a bad person. So it just shows you that even in other worlds, you're going to have assholes.
You're going to have dirt bags no matter what planet you're on.
Yeah, so you're gonna have good and you're gonna have evil. I mean, just everywhere, no matter where you go. So I thought that whole concept was pretty good. But yeah, that was really funny. The part where she gets out of the car and she's grabbing her boobs, like, wow, look at me, I look good. You know what I mean? So I thought that was funny. They did it, it had a little comedy in it. It had a little bit of romance. It made you feel really, my heart just tugged for him when he was sitting at the table having dinner with the FBI, with the family, the chief of police or the head detective's home.
Yeah, Michael Nouri,
and
his Barbara Beck there, and
yeah.
his daughter's there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he, starts.
Because the questions that he asked were very awkward, and the reaction from the dad was like, yeah, like he didn't like it. And then when he said his wife and his child had died, he felt like shit. You know what I mean? So it was a whole reversal of good guy, bad guy type thing, because you were focusing in on him as being a creepy sicko. And then it made you think that the detective was being an asshole. You know what I mean? It kind of gave
the other thing the one thing I didn't like, and I guess maybe I'm going to cut my YouTube folks now. You guys have this link for Rumble in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, click over to that. We're going to do a little bit more footage from the movie and discuss the movie a little harder.
Yeah.
And we'd love it if you join us over there, because Rumble believes in free speech, or at least more speech than what YouTube believes in.